Hold down right click to block. Now while blocking, left click and you'll bash. The first thing you want to do when you get in game is go to your control options, scroll down to interrupt, and make a single key. That equal sign don't suggest that. That's a mouse button for me, but it gives me a single click bash. Also works as your CC breaker. The game doesn't tell you that, but it's very important. Another option you should do is bind a key to dodge roll. Make that Z, it's easy to hit for me, it's all up to you. Next, go to gameplay options. Disable double tap to dodge. This will keep you from accidentally double tapping dodge while you're maneuvering around players, NPCs, terrain, and whatnot. You don't want to waste that large chunk of stamina, do you? Now with sneaking, as you can see here in the middle of my screen it says hidden. As I get closer the eye starts to open. At this point I'm still hidden, it's just telling me that I'm getting close to being detected. If I get into his line of sight and become detected. As you can see, I run like a little bitch. Now let's try this again with invisibility. Nightblade skill or pots both work the same. It guarantees that he can't see me. Now if he has a see invisibility potion or a skill, then that's another story. Here I just show a little bit more blocking. I'll wait for him to cast, get an interrupt on, and then finish. Some more neat tricks that have been added in the last beta. I know I told someone otherwise during the weekend, but I retested it. With the new build, you can stealth projectiles in mid-air. If you stealth while they're casting, they'll just cancel their cast. But if you stealth while it's in mid-air, before it hits you, then it'll just completely go through. This also works with hide, but obviously you can't hide in combat. You can only stealth, so Nightblades and potions only. AoE attacks will still hit me, but as you can see, single target abilities will just go right through me, not breaking me out or taking any damage. Here's an example of a targeted AoE spell is breaking my spell. And then once again, PB AoE root is still hitting me. Now to get out of roots in this game, you must dodge. I can't CC break there, it does nothing. But if I dodge out of it, I get out. But you see, you do not get an immunity when you dodge. You just keep getting root. That's why spammable roots are very overpowered in this game. And keeping plenty of roots on your team is a great tactic. As far as enemy blocking, you see they get that glyph. That's how you know your enemy is blocking. Now there I land a CC. He used his CC breaker, which is the same as interrupt, and you see the swirling lines, which means he's immune to CC. Here I cast it on again, he goes immune, I keep trying to CC him, and nothing happens. It's usually a 5-second timer. Now blocking will also mitigate CC as well as the damage. That crystal shard should have knocked me down, but it did absolutely nothing. Now here I can bash him, which will stumble him. Now this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to show you how what I call cast blocking. You can block while doing instant casts. If you see in the bottom right hand corner, you see the block toggle. And I'm holding down my right click while I'm casting these instant casts, and I never lose the blocking toggle. When I switch weapons, it goes away for a split second. So keep that in mind when you're swapping weapons. Now if I try to use a targeted ability, it will not go through. I gotta let go of my block in order to use a targeted ability. Same goes for a casted ability, and same goes for light and heavy attacks. Now, let's see what happens when I run into this pack of VR10 mobs. This dungeon is designed for 2 to 3 people. If I just run in and do damage with no active mitigation, I die in seconds. Let's try that again with some active mitigation. I got Combat Prayer, Harness Magicka, my Veil of Blades ultimate, and I'll be blocking as I'm doing all of my attacks. See, my stamina drains and I'm taking very little damage. I'm basically trading stamina for health at this point. This allows me to get all my damage and heals off before I run out. The fight ends with me at full health, full magicka, and about 40% stamina. Before level 50, characters do not scale unless you turn battle leveling off. This is why a lot of builds will work before level 50 that will not work whatsoever once your training wheels are off and the scaling begins. As you can see, I take off a piece of gear and all my stats stay the same. I take off all of my gear and all my stats stay the same. I take off my weapon and my weapon damage stays the same. The only effect your armor will have is if you have skill points into the skill trees of medium armor, light armor, or heavy armor. But as far as the armor amount and the stats that are on your armor or the weapon damage on your weapon mean absolutely nothing. You can be naked with a rusty knife and beat the shit out of people. Now here I am at max level, and as you can see, my skills are not balanced and they scale as much as I want them to. This makes a huge difference with your skills. When choosing your armor, remember there's no innate bonus or penalty for any armor type. It's all about the skills you've spent. With no skills spent, heavy armor gives you the most AC. With light armor, you get harness magicka from the annulment line. It's a great ability for reducing spell damage and keeping your magicka up under focus fire. Now for the passives, they'll make you want to use light armor on any heavy magicka build. You'll get a large reduction in magicka costs, magicka regen, you'll get spell resist, spell crit, and ignore the resist of your targets. Medium armor will be your premier choice for a physical DPS build. The active is evade. You can morph it to remove snare or give you more evasion. Your passives give you more crit, stamina regen, less chance to be detected while sneaking, half the cost of stamina while sneaking, attack speed bonus, a sprint speed bonus, and reduce the stamina cost of your dodge roll. Heavy armor, the active is immovable. You don't actually need to be wearing heavy armor to use it, but it's there. Though you can morph it to give you more melee damage while slotted or increase the duration. Your actives will give you both more armor and spell resist, hit point regeneration, bonus to melee power, which is just your light and heavy attacks only, 10% reduced cost of blocking, and more healing received. Now the big difference with heavy armor here is there is no bonus to the regeneration or cost for either resource and magic or stamina. This is why heavy armor is mostly ignored, because you can get mitigation elsewhere. Now if you don't want to wear light armor because you don't like playing a man in a dress, or you just don't like the way your armor looks, there's costumes for everybody. You get these through quests or skill unlocks. I'm sure they'll add plenty in the game as the game grows. But metal bikinis for everybody. Now I know that was super boring, but I hope that answered your questions towards getting started in building a PvP character in Elder Scrolls Online. Hope to see you in 2 weeks.